Hello and welcome back to the Villa Filler podcast. It's me, Dan Wiseman, your host for today's episode, where we're going to take a look back at the 0-0 draw at Ellen Road that we just played out with Leeds United. It's a disappointing game for most. I totally understand the sentiment. It's really difficult to find the words on what to say and exactly how to feel about the run of results that Villa are on, and what it means for the team, and more importantly, what it means for the manager, Steven Gerrard. I think on the surface, you look at this sort of mini patch of results that we've had that have been quite dragged out, really, with the international break and with the matches being postponed around the Queen's passing and stuff like that. These three games where you have that 1-0 draw with Man City, you go into that 0-0 draw today with that 1-0 win against Southampton sandwiched in between. And on the surface, it looks a good result. That's back-to-back clean sheets now. That's our first point away from home this season. We've stopped that losing rut that was 3 games. And obviously, when you watch the City performance today against Man United, it actually, I said this to a few friends of mine, I was like, our draw now against them looks so impressive. It really does. Keeping Haaland down to just scoring 1 is impressive enough, let alone taking a point from the game. And I don't necessarily think that today's performance was awful. I don't think it was as bad as it's been. I don't think even... I do still think it's better than where we were earlier on in this season. And I think our XG backs that up in a way. If you look at the expected goals from today's game, we picked up 2.08 to Leeds' 0.37. We dominated the ball. We had 18 shots to their 5, 3 big chances to their 0, 9 corners to their 2. We won more duels, we won more tackles, they had more yellow cards, they gave away more fouls. Like, all of the stats are in our favour. And I just felt like we didn't put those chances away. The expected goals will tell you we should have come away 2-0 winners from that game. And I think we were good value for it. I thought Watkins was really poor today. The striker conundrum that we have going on is really interesting. I really feel for Cameron Archer, man, because if he can't get 10, 15 minutes in a game like this where Watkins is offered so little, Ings coming on off the bench I always feel like he's not a player that's made for those situations, and bringing Danny Ings off the bench with 15 minutes, 10 minutes to go is a useless substitution, really, because I don't think he's the kind of player that can come and inject pace or energy into the team. And yes, like, maybe he's a better finisher than Ali, but a lot of our chances had come before that. And if Cameron Archer can't get that chance, then why is he here? Why is he here? Why isn't he on loan? Why didn't we send him back to Preston, who would have undoubtedly loved to have had him for another year, or even, a championship side better off than that Dean Smith at Norwich or somebody like that? Why is he here? And I'm sure he's asking the same questions of himself. And I know that there's been some fitness struggles and everything like that. And I know that he's not been 100%. And if he's not for this game, maybe that's the explanation, but it doesn't explain why he's not been given any minutes this season, really. Why in the league, when we've been struggling for goals for so long, and this is the biggest criticism I can give Steven Gerrard, because I think the defence has been shored up. I thought the defence was really good today. I think Mings has been brilliant. And for whatever people might say about the captain situation and handing it over to John and whether Tyrone was done right, it's worked for Tyrone Mings. It has worked. His performances are undoubtedly better this season, currently, right now, than they were last season. He's just been the closest player of the month. Something that felt a mile away for him towards the back end of last season. Taking the armband away from Tyrone Mings has worked, and it's made him a better player. It's had an inverse effect on John McGinn, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I think the defence is solid. I think, especially when you consider that we're 2 out of like the back 4, that you're losing half the back 4 to injury at the moment. We've just lost Augustinson again. Bednarek had to come in. It was a real makeshift back 4. I think they did really well, but that's not been the biggest criticism of Gerrard's time here. It's been the attack. And why, with such a wealth of attacking talent, why we can't score more goals than we do. Why does it feel so laboured? Why do we go through these painstaking games where it feels impossible for the Villa to hit the back of the net? especially this season. And this is maybe where I have a bit of sympathy for Gerrard in these games, because don't get me wrong, the coaching is not very good. And there have been so many games where we've struggled to create attacks and struggled to score goals because the coaching has been poor. But today's XG, 2 goals, to come away with none, there's nothing that Gerrard can do from the touchline about that, to be honest with you. I know that the midfield wasn't great, and I know that we played for it, but we are without Kamara, and I do feel like Kamara would have added a lot to that game. And what did we say about last year's midfield and the midfield the season before that? Is that it just gets played through easily. It's the same 3 guys. It's still Ramsey, McGinn, and Louise. It's the same. It's the same 3 guys. And every addition that we've made, to come into that middle, Kamara is the guy, the linchpin at the base of that midfield three that can fix that. When he's gone, we're just the same team, and it's the same problems. And look, I always try and stand by the manager. Obviously, I've seen a lot of paper talk about Pochettino and stuff like that. I don't know how true that is, that we're still in contact with him and everything like that. And I don't know. I doubt it. I always stand by the manager, and I try to, I'll call them out when I can. And I don't think Stevie is the man to guide us forward and to take this club long term. I don't think there's been enough vision. I don't think there's enough identity. I don't think there's been enough encouraging signs to say, you know what? Yeah, we'll give you time. We'll give you another 6 months. We'll give you past Christmas. I think we're still missing that. But on today, I do genuinely feel a bit sorry for him, because we should have won that game. We dealt with the atmosphere better. We didn't get too riled up. Like the Sinistera stuff and his red card is annoying for Leeds fans, I imagine, but we didn't get into that sort of stuff. And we have previously, like there's obviously the big Bamford gate and the click and everything that happened in that particular game when we were in the Championship that comes to mind, where we've lost our heads in those kind of situations. We didn't today, and I think the lads deserve credit for that. And that's one of the things that, with Gerrard being a very passionate, emotional, very aggressive player, and I imagine he's a very similar figure as a manager, you necessarily didn't think would translate well to this game. But I thought we kept our heads better. I know it wasn't a brilliant performance, and guys, like, I'm really struggling to toe the line between accepting that today probably wasn't good enough and there are still holes in the plan and the identity of this club and what we're seeing from Gerrard. But on today, I do have a little bit of sympathy with him, because what Ollie Watkins was woeful, and what's happened to him is really confusing. But maybe that's another question as well. It's a question in itself, isn't it? In terms of, like, if you look at Watkins, when Tuchel was sacked, just to use an analogy, when Tuchel was sacked by Chelsea, one of the big arguments that was leveraged against him was, like, how many of their attacking players had improved during his tenure? How many of you say, yeah, he's definitely a better player than when Tuchel came in? And it feels like that a bit with Villa, really. I think you can pick out players within the squad that have improved. I think Ty has gotten better, as I said. I think JJ has gotten better, but perhaps that's is on a natural trajectory because of his age and his exposure to the Premier League. But I think the fact still stands. But otherwise, I think you're struggling, really. I think Kashi's got worse, which is concerning because he was player of the season last year. Coutinho, I actually think he's playing better than he was at points, but he's still not hitting the heights that he should have been. Buendia, I feel, should be involved more. Ollie Watkins blows hot and cold, and it's really hard to say what's going on there. So I really struggle, guys, with the Villa at the moment, and how to feel, and whether I don't quite buy into the doom and gloom. I don't think it's as bad as some people make out. I feel like people have got it in for Gerrard and have for a little while. I feel like we could win our next 3 or 4 games in a row, and people are just waiting for the drop points, and then it will be Gerrard out and we'll be on his back again. I feel like he's got to work real miracles to convince this fan base, and that's telling, and that's fine, and that's fair. For the people that do feel that way, I totally get it. But it does just feel that, like, we've had a couple of positive results, and I know they weren't great, but they were positive results. And that point, a win is a win, and a draw against Man City is great. Both of those results were good, and those weren't things that looked possible necessarily the games prior. But I do feel like Gerrard is it's just a matter of when, not if. I can't see him turning this around. I feel like it's regardless of how long if this unbeaten streak, we draw 2 more games, maybe we win one. As soon as we lose the next game, it's going to be Gerrard out. And that's because of the way that we play. It's because you can't see it changing drastically. It's because I don't feel like we're going to go into the next game. We're like, you know what? Maybe today is the day that it clicks. Maybe today is the day that possession football, that attacking football comes. It's the day that all of these amazingly talented attackers finally hit their song and play to the same tune, and we score 3-4 goals. Notts Forest at home is a genuine possibility to do that, but you just don't feel like we will. You feel like it, and that's probably why it feels that way, maybe. But it's just a very difficult situation to read, and it's a very difficult to understand where the club's head is at. I think they have to listen to the voice of the fan base on this one, because it's not a good look for the club to have this disconnect going on. The replies to all of our social media posts are really quite telling, and the club won't want that. It's not good image-wise, and to have a manager that the fans are seemingly so discontent with isn't a good look. But my point stands. I think today was unlucky. We should have won the game. I think with Ollie Watkins, a different version of him, we do. I think that, chances fell to other guys. Coutinho hits the post. McGinn has a few efforts from range and stuff like that. And it's like, on another day, I do think we get a better result today. I really do. And I think the XG will back me up on that. And if we just had someone that could put the ball in the net, I think we come away with 2 or 3 goals today. The chances are there. Ollie Watkins was denied by Meslier. Meslier had a stinker today. He was flapping at everything. He couldn't catch a cold. And I just can't believe that we didn't punish him for that. And without Stevie running on to tap in from 6 yards himself, I don't know how you can blame him for that part of the game. And I think everything else was fine. I think defensively we were okay. The midfield issues, I can almost excuse it today, because Kamara is going to be such a loss, and we knew it's going to be Bitpar, and we know it's going to be Luis at the Emma position that he's not great at. We know that it's probably going to be like Louise, McGinn and Ramsey will start most games for the foreseeable. Can't see that changing. Sanson's not going to come in. I don't even know what's going on with Marvelous Nakamba. We haven't got the option of like Tiro Boonham anymore, who played a few minutes last season because he's on loan. So like that will be the midfield for the foreseeable. And we know it's not good enough because we tried to upgrade it in the summer. So today I have a few sympathies. I'll be really interested to see what you guys think. I don't know if you guys know me, I'm ever the optimist, always a bit pie in the sky. Maybe that's working against me. Maybe there are realities that I'm not willing to accept. I don't want to accept. I don't want to sack another manager again and go through that, because we've learned that the grass isn't always greener, but on this particular occasion, it's really hard to envisage that. Because even when Dean Smith got bad, at least there was still that connection. At least you felt like we were desperate for it to work, but it just wasn't going to in the end. And so, guys, let me know what you think. I'm really interested in this one. I really encourage you guys to drop some comments down below, get involved with some dialogue amongst yourselves. Tell me how you see it. I feel like the fan base is quite divided. I don't feel like many people are as positive as me. So if there are some of you guys out there, please let me know. I'd really appreciate that. But make sure you download OneFootball. As I said at the top of the podcast, it's what powers this show. It's where we get all of our data, all of our stats. So make sure you hit that link, and Dan and I would be so grateful, honestly. We thank you guys so much who have done that already. The FPL link is down there as well. Let's have a quick look at that, actually, because I imagine it's been a very telling day with who did and didn't captain Haaland, actually. Yeah, I'm 21st in this league. I'm having a bit of a stinker. Dan Horton's been running away with it as well, but he's an absolute FPL guru. He's still at the top. But David Smullen, shout out if you're watching, mate, is just 2 points behind, and that's quite impressive, actually. So, yeah, make sure if you want to join the FPL league, there's a decent number of in there at the moment. We're almost at 70 people, which is pretty great. So if you want to join that, hit the link, comment your thoughts below, make sure you like, subscribe. More content will be coming to you guys in the next few days. Enjoy it, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great evening. Have a great next week. I'll see you soon. Up the Villa.